Hi, I'm Martin Brockman, ex-international decathlete and head of athlete development at Aspire Academy in Qatar, and I'm now sharing my knowledge and experience as an international decathlete and coach through Brockman Athletics to help PE teachers improve the delivery of athletics in their school. Well, of course, for me personally, it was my Commonwealth Games bronze medal in Delhi in 2010. But before that, there were other athletes that inspired me to even want to become an athlete. So I remember watching Dean Macy in 2006 at the Commonwealth Games win his gold medal. And that was one of the big inspirations for me to give it a go as an athlete and become a professional athlete. And 4 years later was when I won my medal in Delhi after being inspired by watching Dean. But even before that, probably my earliest memory of athletics was watching Dame Kelly Holmes win the 800 and 1500 meter double Olympic gold in Athens. And that's probably the first time that I really started to enjoy athletics and get the bug for athletics. So personally, obviously it's my Commonwealth Games triumphs, but watching other people achieve their success had a huge impact on me and wanting to start that journey myself. Well, of course, I was a sporty kid, so I loved PE in school. But I would say probably in primary school more than in secondary school. In primary school, it was just doing sport for the love of doing sport. But I was also a big kid. I was winning everything. I was in every team. During secondary school, PE became a little bit more, let's rollerbowling, let's just try all of these different sports. Let's teach you the basic rules. But I was also a little bit of a late bloomer, so I didn't necessarily excel in the same way I had in primary school, which was difficult for me. But all the way through, I've loved sport. I loved PE. It was my favourite lesson of the week. But particularly in primary school, where it was just about exploring different sports and learning different skills, that I really fell in love with sport. In primary school, athletics was very much just sports day. We did lots of different activities, but we always ended with the big race and the relay race. Representing my schoolhouse was really the highlight of my year on sports day. In secondary school, athletics within PE was very small. It was very much, I can't really remember too much of it, to be honest. I remember doing some races over different distances. Of course, the fastest kids win every race. I remember doing some long jump, but it was very much just run and jump in the sand, and the same with the shot put. Was just, here's how you hold the shot put. Maybe here's where you put your feet. Let's see how far we can throw. I don't really remember much of athletics in school, apart from doing an athletics lesson where one of my PE teachers recommended to me and a group of us that actually we're not bad at this. Maybe if we wanted to, we should go and try it in a club. And I think I was the only one that did in the end. Well, I started Brockman Athletics primarily because I had lots of teacher friends asking me where they can find resources, where they can find videos related to athletics. And I realized that there aren't really any high quality resources around. And as a decathlete, I have this broad understanding of all of the events. Maybe my knowledge is not as detailed as you get with a specialist coach, but for the school environment, where we're trying to teach lots of different sports and lots of different athletics disciplines, we're doing the same thing in decathlon. We can't be teaching all these fine details because we don't have time. So we need to understand the basics really, really well. So I thought I'm in a good position to create these resources, create this education program where I can teach the teachers what are these basics that we're looking for and what are these basic movement skills that apply across all of the events, but also across all sports. Because of course, running, jumping and throwing form the foundation of all of our sports. Well, of course, for me, I love athletics. I did decathlon because I just wanted to do everything. But I think what's so great about athletics is when I would travel with a team, we'd have everything from the 6'10" shot putter to the small, skinny endurance runner to the powerful sprinters to the really skillful hammer throwers. And there is an event for every person, an event for every body shape. And therefore, athletics is really an inclusive sport. We have male and female, we have all different shapes and sizes, and we have disability sport. So athletics for me is a sport that everyone can get involved in. I mean, my most successful event was the high jump, because I started out as a high jumper. I'm 6'6" tall. I started out as a high jumper as a younger athlete, before transferring to decathlon. So as a decathlete, I was pretty good at high jump, but I also really enjoyed pole vault when it was going well. When it wasn't going well, it was terrifying. And as I got later in my career and the speed starts to go, but the skill becomes more important, I started to enjoy events more like discus later on in my career. So I think it depends what's going well at the time and where you are in your career, which ones you enjoy the most. But for me, high jump was always up there, because it was one of my better ones. And I enjoyed training for discus because you could relax and it was a rhythm type event. So it's always a nice one to train when you're feeling tired in the middle of a winter training block. But actually, my favourite event in athletics is the 4x400 meters, because it has this excitement that it's always reasonably close race, but it has this excitement where the race builds and builds and builds throughout, and you're never quite sure what's going to happen. And in a stadium, watching a 4x400 meters is always when you get the most noise from the crowd. Well, probably primarily it's just to have fun, because that's what we're here for in the first place, to enjoy taking part in sport. But also we know that when we're enjoying, we will absorb information much more easily and we're going to learn much more easily. But also when we're just enjoying and we're relaxed, things start to flow, things start to fall into place, and we start to find our natural rhythms and postures and positions for our own unique body shape, and that's when our technique kind of falls into place. So enjoying what we're doing is probably number one on multiple levels. But after that, it's probably learning to control our posture in terms of teaching progressions. Having the correct posture helps us to establish big ranges of movement in everything we do. And also having our posture under control allows us to control that movement much more easily, keep everything in front of the body where we can work the ground, where we can hit nice takeoff, nice high knee positions. So enjoyment and making sure that we have a nice upright and open posture in everything we do. Well, I always like to start by teaching basic sprinting technique, because of course our sprinting technique is going to help us in our running events, but also the hurdles. It helps us on the long jump runway, the triple jump runway. It helps us in the javelin approach with the postures and learning how to strike the ground effectively. So most of what we do in athletics, minus a couple of the throwing events, is based around adaptations of that sprint technique. So when we think about the takeoff and the long jump, we're still looking to have an extension of the takeoff leg. We're still looking to come through to a high knee. We're still looking to have our trunk in a nice neutral position. Plus, we just used all those sprint techniques on the runway anyway. So if we can get a sound understanding of the basics of sprinting, then we can learn how to make those small adjustments and change the timing slightly to apply those same skills to all of the other events. Well, in athletics, we have the athletes who can run the fastest, they can jump the highest and jump the furthest, and they can throw the furthest. And I mean, these skills basically make up the foundations of all other sports. So other sports could probably learn from athletics the technique that we're employing to get these great performances, plus the training methodologies that we're using to enhance performance, and then learn how to apply these skills back into the context of their own sport. I mean, I'm here at Gloria Sports Arena filming an online course for teachers and club coaches, and I'll be traveling around Asia in the next month or so. My aim is to just keep sharing knowledge and experience as widely as possible around the world, and to keep coming up with new ways that I can share knowledge and make it accessible for as many teachers as I can.